G'day guys, my name's Miles.
And my name's Fez.
And this is The Commodity, and today we're reacting to Sydney and Melbourne compared. I think I killed that. In a bad way.
It's dead?
In a terrible way. This video was suggested to us by Travin twice on the same day. No. Yeah, same day. So
are they the same video?
Yeah, same video. So thank you so much for double suggesting this. I definitely saw it.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through and I saw it twice and I was like, okay, this might be a popular video. Two different people suggested it.
Yeah.
But it was the same person, so I was like, okay, whatever, we'll do it. So
Travin squared.
So we figured you guys would enjoy this as well. Usually a comparison video or a versus video is controversial and does well. So both cities,
but usually they're different countries.
Exactly. Yeah, we've never done a city versus city, I don't think,
within the same
country. So I'm excited to check this out. We've obviously seen videos of Melbourne and Sydney. So we already know both are amazing, beautiful places, and both places we want to visit. So with that being said, guys, before we hop into this video, if you would, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It truly helps us out in getting these videos out to more people. Also, if you would, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before we hop on a 32-hour flight to Malaysia. It will be my first time on a plane, and we've already seen so far that a lot of people are excited to see that vlog. So, as Fez says, I'm just jumping straight in from never flying to a 32-hour flight. 32
Probably one of the longest flights you could actually do outside of traveling to like the moon.
Yeah, well, I want to say Australia is quite a flight as well.
But now you can fly trans-Pacific, so it's not as far as it used to be, because you used to have to fly all the way around the world.
So yeah, my first time on an airplane, guys. If you want to see the vlog of that, and also we're going to do some very, very, very awesome and very entertaining challenges once we get to Malaysia. They've already got us set up for them, so... With that being said, again, please click that subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way we can hit our goal and you guys can travel along with us. Also, if you would, go ahead and click the join button down below if you want to help support the channel even more and get an exclusive YouTube short shout out. So let's hop in and see this comparison video.
Let's do it.
All right, so we got a Skillshare ad, so we're probably going to click through.
You're stopping the recording.
Yeah, no, I just started back.
For sponsoring this video. Sydney and Melbourne, the two largest cities in the country of Australia and the continent of Australia.
Nah, man, it's called Meganesia.
Mega what?
The continent is called Meganesia, man.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the two largest cities on that continent. And Oceania, for that matter.
Is the continent called Magnesia?
There's a medicine I think you just said, milk of magnesia. I've never heard that either.
Country of Australia and the continent of Australia.
Nah, man, it's called Meganesia.
Mega what?
The continent is called Meganesia, man.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the two largest cities on that continent and Oceania, for that matter. However, Sydney's metropolitan area is slightly bigger than Melbourne's. The two cities are about 878 kilometers or 546 miles from each other. About a 9-hour, fairly boring drive. Sydney is the capital of the state of New South Wales. Melbourne, the capital of the state of Victoria. Both are iconic, cosmopolitan, global cities.
I already know there's going to be so much talk in the comments. He's not Australian.
Keep it.
No, I'm not even talking about against each other. You guys can argue against each other all you want. That's entertaining. The commentator not being from Australia,
right,
and pronouncing it Melbourne. You guys are going to love it.
Tourists often have a difficult time deciding which one to visit. Well, hopefully this video will help them choose. According to the most recent Global Livability Index put out by The Economist each year, Melbourne is the second most livable city in the world. Hey, good job, Melbourne. But Sydney's not far behind. It's the fifth. Hold up. Australia's got 3 cities in the top 10? Jeez. Maybe
That's really
one reason
cool.
why Melbourne is higher
I thought
up
the
on
first
that
one was
list is
Australia, but
because
it's Austria.
cheaper to live there than in Sydney. It's true. Just about everything is more expensive in Sydney.
true.
As I said earlier, Sydney has a larger population, but Melbourne has been growing at a faster rate. At the current rates, it will be Australia's largest city in about 20 to 30 years. More than 40% of all of Australia's population lives in either the Sydney metro area or the Melbourne metro area.
That's
Despite
crazy.
being smaller, Melbourne has a much higher population density. Sydney does seem to have a faster pace about it, and it has more traffic. Sydney is more culturally diverse. 43% of Sydney residents were born in another country, compared with 36% of Melbourne residents. While English is the official language of both cities, more than 38% of residents in both cities speak a language other than English at home.
So
a lot of the
very
immigrants in
diverse
both
area.
cities came from China and India. Melbourne is more religious than Sydney, albeit slightly. The largest religious group in both cities is Roman Catholic. The poverty rate is higher in Sydney,
Only
but
12
the unemployment
oh.
rate is currently lower there. And Melbourne has a higher crime rate. Both are cities by the sea.
So it's more livable but higher crime rate. But I guess they take into account.
Well, they're not shooting you; they're just stabbing you.
Yeah. Well, they did tell us in our last video that guns aren't just gone.
Yeah,
They're
no,
still
of course.
shootings.
Sydney sits by the Pacific Ocean, or more specifically, the Tasman Sea. Melbourne sits by the Indian Ocean, or really the Southern Ocean, or more specifically, the Bass Strait. Both cities are short drives away from mountains. Sydney has
That's
the Blue
gorgeous.
Mountains to the west, and Melbourne has the Dandenong to the east. Many argue
I don't know where
Sydney
you're gonna
has
put our
better
faces
weather
on
than
this.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Both have moderate climates due to being right
We're gonna
on
have
the
to be
ocean.
split.
Technically, they are different climate zones, though.
Okay,
Sydney
by
has a
the
humid
ocean.
subtropical climate, while Melbourne has an oceanic climate. Sydney has more sunny days, yet also gets quite a bit more rainfall overall, and Melbourne gets a little colder than Sydney,
Being
and
so
its
close to each other,
temperatures
too.
can sometimes wildly fluctuate in a short amount of time. Sydney
Like
has a lot
Texas.
more beaches, and their beaches are better, but Melbourne has a better nightlife, so there's that. Based on my research, Melburnians pay less taxes than Sydney-siders. Melbourne is a bit
don't know if I
easier
like
to
that.
get around in.
Melburnians?
You know, its roads form grids. Sydney, not as much. More Melburnians ride bikes compared to Sydney-siders, and of course they do, because apparently more Melburnians
cool.
are hipsters than
Sydney-siders.
Sydney-siders. Darn hipsters. But wait, more Sydney-siders walk to work, while more Melburnians drive. Maybe I spoke too soon about the hipster talk. More Sydney-siders use mass transit, although Melbourne has the largest tram network in the world. We call them streetcars in the United States, but I
Wow.
can dig tram. Overall, public mass
Do we call them streetcars? I thought those were called like trolleys.
I call them trolleys.
Yeah. Streetcars. That's a huge ass car.
Yeah.
transit in both cities is kind of modest compared to other international cities, but the governments of both cities have ambitious goals for getting residents.
I'm sorry I had to pause it again. I just noticed this building.
It looks a lot like the Perot Museum.
That's gorgeous. This is, I mean, I'm actually paying attention now. Everything right
Yeah.
here is
To
gorgeous.
use it more. One reason why both cities
This looks
are
a
so
lot like
sprawling
Dallas.
is because
Yeah.
they both developed much later than most world cities. They're youngins, although Sydney is older than Melbourne. In fact, modern Sydney is where the first Europeans settled in Australia. Of course, indigenous
interesting.
Australians lived in the areas of both cities for tens of thousands of years before that. But yeah, Sydney became a city on January 26th, 1788. Melbourne didn't become a city until 1835. Holy crap, it's not even 200 years old yet? That's a little trippy. The first settlers of Sydney
is
were
crazy.
mostly British convicts. Criminals. Okay, mostly for petty crimes, but still. Melbourne was started by Batman. No, not that Batman. That Batman. John Batman, who was born in Australia. He was an explorer, rancher, and businessman who made treaties with the indigenous people to acquire the land to start settlement in the area that became Melbourne. In fact, before it was called Melbourne, it was called Batmania for a short while. I can't make this stuff up. It's true, okay?
Why would you
Between
change
1790 and 1816, Sydney regularly got caught up in the Australian Frontier Wars, or the series of violent clashes between indigenous nations and British settlers in Australia. Meanwhile, Melbourne was a much more peaceful, low-key place. That is, until a freaking gold rush. After someone discovered gold in Victoria in 1851, a gold rush caused Melbourne to quickly grow. Within months, its population doubled, becoming Australia's biggest city by 1865. However, more folks had also moved to Sydney due to the gold rush. Also, Sydney invested more than Melbourne in building up its cultural institutions and public buildings. In other words, it attracted greater investment. In the late 1800s, both cities tended to grow outwards, much like cities would later in the 1900s, which is why later they both became so car dependent. Melbourne got hit pretty hard by a big depression in the 1890s. Still, by the end of the century, it was Melbourne, not Sydney, that some said was the richest city in the world. Right before Australia officially became a federation on January 1st, 1901, the two cities fought to become the new country's capital city. Both argued that they were the superior city and deserved to be the capital. Unable to solve the argument, they compromised, creating a capital city out of scratch to sit between the two cities. That city is Canberra, but it wasn't completed until 1927. So which city got to be the temporary capital until then?
City as
Melbourne.
Well.
And Melburnians will likely let you know that. By World War II, Sydney's population had caught back up with Melbourne.
I hope that's the biggest argument in our comment section.
Yeah.
They took her jobs.
Once again becoming the largest city in Australia. Speaking of World War II, Japanese submarines attacked
We don't really
Sydney
want you guys to
during
argue, by
it,
the way.
but they never attacked Melbourne. After the war, both cities grew quickly once again as their economies diversified and immigration increased. Today, though, Melbourne is once again the city creating more jobs. Major industries in Sydney today include finance, manufacturing, and tourism. Major industries in Melbourne include also finance, as well as healthcare and information technology. Sydney's big iconic landmark is the Sydney Opera House, of course.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, either have I. What is this?
Kidding.
So
I've seen
perhaps
Nemo.
lesser known is Melbourne's big iconic
We're educated.
landmark, Flinders Street Station. Other attractions in Sydney include the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Bondi Beach, Hyde Park, the Sydney Tower Eye, and the Sydney Cricket Ground. Other attractions in Melbourne include Queen Victoria Market, the National Gallery of Victoria, the Shrine of Remembrance, Federation Square, and the Archway. While researching for this video, the Melburnians consistently let me know that their food selection was far superior to Sydney. Sydney-siders, be sure to correct them in the comments below. Let's see, what else?
Yeah, they're
I really
looking for
do think
the...
there are more
He wants the
hipsters in
argument,
Melbourne.
too.
Yeah.
Art is everywhere in the city.
More
Everywhere
hipsters.
you turn, there are brightly painted murals and live music, whether it be in bars,
I'm
coffee
down for that.
shops, or
Yeah.
on the street. The alternative scene is bigger in Melbourne, and in my humble opinion, it has more innovative bands. When I
Born
think
and
of
raised in
Melbourne,
Sydney, but
I
got
think
famous
of
in
Nick
Melbourne.
Cave and the Bad Seeds, the Avalanches, or Cut Copy. When I think of Sydney, I think of AC/DC or NXS. Don't get me wrong, those are two great bands, but not as innovative. Both cities have hosted the
Out of
Olympics,
all those, I just
but
know
Melbourne
AC/DC.
beat
Yeah.
Sydney to it by 44 years. Melbourne is known as the sporting capital of Australia since it hosts the Australian Open, the Australian Grand Prix, and the Australian Football League Grand Final. However, Sydney hosts the National Rugby League Grand Final, and rugby is ridiculous. popular in Australia, by the way. What about professional sports teams? Well, for the AFL, there are the Melbourne Demons and North Melbourne Kangaroos, and the Sydney Swans and Greater Western Sydney Giants. For the NRL, there's the Melbourne Storm. Sydney has 2 NRL teams, the Sydney Roosters and South Sydney Rabbitohs.
I don't even know what NRL is.
I will say Melbourne has some really cool sports team names.
Yeah.
Like, they sound like they're going to get you.
I mean, if Sydney would change their Roosters to the Cocks, that'd be different.
What a great name for a team. Rabbitohs. For the NBL, or National Basketball League, there's the Melbourne United and the Sydney Kings. It's not just sports rivalries, though, folks. There is a lot of trash talking between Sydney residents and Melbourne residents, which is one reason why I made this video. People have been suggesting this one to me quite a bit, actually. The two have been competing with each other for more than 150 years. Speaking of competing, to all of you tourists, have you decided which one you want to visit yet? No?
Both.
Did I make it worse? Well, dang it. Yeah, then I guess you'll just have to visit both.
Facts. Oh, goodness, there's so much more.
With
that's his sponsorship.
Good man, saving it for the end.
Yeah, very gentlemanlike. I mean, honestly, when we go to Australia, 8 to 9 hour drive between both places.
No, it was like 5-hour drive.
No, he said it was 9 hours. He said it was 9 hours of nothing.
Oh.
It's 500 and something miles.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn it said like,
he said like
5 hours.
536 miles.
I could have sworn he said like 5 hours.
He said 9. So if we were there for like a week and a half, we could spend 3 days in each place.
I would say let's make it 2 separate trips.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
That's the way I look at it.
This is a good video.
Because we could go during the wintertime here. It's summertime there.
That it is.
So.
That it is.
It'd be worthwhile.
What would you say is your favorite?
Between the two? From pictures? Probably Melbourne. Because the food.
Okay. But that was just... He just said that that's what they say. He didn't say it was a fact.
Oh. Well, there's no way to fact those things. It's just...
There's probably statistics on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I'm
which
sure.
place.
I don't know. I can't say without being there, going to either one.
I was just going to let you answer so I could say the opposite so somebody else could argue in the comments.
Gotcha. I'll say Sydney.
Melbourne.
Wrong, but it's okay.
When you said Melbourne, I was gonna be disappointed though because I was gonna say Melbourne. Like I like Melbourne. I like Sydney too. It's just more. Both cities are obviously touristy.
Okay. Yeah.
But
of course.
I would imagine Sydney is more touristy.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I'd want to go to Melbourne first, is because it's not as touristy.
But it is.
But it's touristy. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to justify it, but it's not.
Yeah, they're both touristy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm down for the touristy stuff too.
Yeah.
But guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see our future videos, and we're trying to get over 100,000 subscribers before we travel to Malaysia, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. And if you want to support us directly, hit that join button. And with that being said,
my name's Miles.
And my name is Fez.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace
out.